But great. I don't think we should walk away.
No.
No.
Now we're very phlegmy, right?
Watch it.
Waiting for anything. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, discussion. None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, agenda is approved. Now we will need approval of the consent agenda, which is in your packet. Have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Discussion. All those in favor?
I have a discussion. You noticed on one of the businesses opening is in your building. Is that right?
Don't know.
No.
Yeah, 6,
Okay.
492, 581.
Oh, so they must have gotten their CO.
Oh, the one that's been there forever?
Yeah, they didn't let me know.
So they're opening.
Check that switch up
I
there,
hope
Jay,
so.
What are they?
on the back of the thing.
It is a,
They were.
Having audio issues.
He's checking to make sure they're on.
it is a,
Did everyone's buttons push?
yeah.
That's actually.
Yeah, I can do something.
There it is. There it is.
Okay, Organic Body Works at 492 West Main Street will be a sort of like organic and holistic body products. I think they're gonna have like grab and go sandwiches, and I believe they're doing Reiki massage. So
Okay, moving right along. We had a motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor? Say aye, raise your hand.
yes,
Aye. Okay. Public comments. I don't see anybody here and no one that signed up or submitted anything. So we'll move on to reports. I'm filling in for Linda today, so I'll do the mayor's report. The only thing I have to report is I had a conversation with Sarah Thompson at Dogwood Health Trust. And we discussed two things. There have been some discussions online about a need for a co-working space in Sylva, which I thought was a good idea. We have a lot of people who work remote now, myself included, and people moving here because they work remote. And Sarah Thompson, who focuses on economic development at Dogwood Health Trust, mentioned the possibility for Dogwood Health Trust to fund a feasibility study. And I talked with Bernadette Peters, our Main Street director, and she's going to facilitate that study. And it'll be available for free. It'll either be a grant that pays for it, or Dogwood Health Trust has an organization they partner with to do those. And what that study would look at is, one, is there a market for that? But it would also explore different models. For example, if it would be a completely private enterprise, just a business would undertake, or if there was some ability for some kind of public-private partnership. It would also look at locations downtown, and it would explore grant opportunities for rehabbing spaces to be used for that purpose. So waiting to hear back some more details from Dogwood and to set up a meeting with Vern and I and whichever person from Dogwood Health Trust we would be working with. The other thing that we spoke about was money for housing. And we had some discussions in the past with the county on numerous ideas, but one being funding the purchase of a plot of land for an LAHTC. Dogwood Health Trust in the past had mostly been focusing on gap funding for developments that had already been approved. But they recognize the need for in Jackson County for us to even get to the point of an LAHTC application getting approved for their funding. So they said now would be a good time to apply for something like that. So I would like to set up another meeting with the county, because I still like for it to be a three-way partnership with us, the county, and Dogwood Health Trust. So now that we have new commissioners in there, I think it'd be a good time to revitalize those. I know we're really busy. It'd be great if you could join us on that discussion, but maybe just at least set it up for us and I can fill you in. I have a meeting set up with, should have wrote the person's name down, with one of the housing experts at Dogwood Health Trust on next Thursday, I believe it is, or Friday. And hey, if you want to join on that, I'll send you the details, or if another board member wants to join on that discussion, they're welcome to. It's remote, it's over Zoom. So sorry that was long. That's it for me. We'll start over at your end, Mary, with the commissioner reports.
I don't have a report tonight, thanks.
So yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. First off, I want to thank Public Works for everything they did over the holiday season, the parade, and as well as Sylva PD was great. And I think we move into the new year and we forget about everything that just happened. And now I got to take down all the decorations and stuff. So much appreciated. And I brought up the Ripple Street. So it sounds like, because I had some folks that contacted me about the street, and it sounds like it doesn't quite go as far as they thought.
So you, from the pictures you sent, where it Ripple Run makes a T with Chase Lane.
Yeah.
Ripple Run is a town-owned street. It's 264 feet from the state road.
Okay.
We'll be happy to fix that section. Chase Lane is private.
So the T part of it, is that whole thing Chase, or is that half Chase, half Ripple?
The whole thing is Chase.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, got it. So appreciate it.
I'll be happy to show you that on the Powellville map. after
Yeah,
the meeting.
no worries. Okay, thanks. And we talked about the crosswalk signs, and Paige, you said that they had become more expensive now, and so we needed to actually, initially we can take it out of your project's budget, but now it sounds like we need to do something more. Do we have to like approve that, or how does that work?
I'll just put them in the 23-24 budget that we're working on right now.
Oh, okay.
And normally we're able, they've been cheap enough where we can afford them just out of our street department supplies line item. But they've gone up $400 or $500 a piece now. So it gets,
Okay. So then that would be, they wouldn't actually be able to purchase them until July, whatever. Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you. And the last thing I wanted to say is this is the beginning of the last year of my term. And I just wanted to start off saying I'm really looking forward to this year. We've got a lot of huge projects coming along, and I'm hoping to see them actually happen, and looking forward to that. And with that said, it's something I've learned from being in this position, that it's a complicated, municipal government in general, even if it's a small town government, is really complicated. There's a lot of things that have to be settled. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that we do, lots of discussions, takes a ton of time. And the big thing I've learned is staying at it is how things get done. It's a slow process, but it's slow and steady hand that gets it done. And I just wanted to say I'm very proud of everybody in this room. It's really great working with y'all. And this is a smart board, folks that look into what's happening, understand, ask questions, don't get ahead of themselves. And I have a lot of respect for that. Being in this position, you have the people, put you in this position where we're the voice of the people. It's a great responsibility and I appreciate having this opportunity. So that's all I got.
Okay, Jake, there's a large hole developing in the Cogswell Park. It's sort of like right where the traffic goes from the top of the lot to the bottom into the alleyway. Maybe hoping we could throw some gravel in there.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit. Thanks for the update on the skate park. It sounds like as soon as the meter is turned on.
Yeah, so what Duke did was they set the pole and then we had our electrical panel, 200 amp electrical panel installed. NCI came and put up the camera equipment and then Duke has to come back and connect all that, the panel and the meter and all that. When we applied for our building permit for the electrical work, there was a clerical error that got that meter lost in the shuffle. So they promised me 1 to 3 business days as of yesterday to have everything up and going.
Okay,
If
great.
that's the case, weather dependent, I'd like to start screwing that thing together next week.
And we're gonna do some clearing of all that dirt and
Yeah,
it'd be nice to see what that ground actually looks like before we commit to putting the pipe in place.
yeah.
I'm a little bit concerned that it's like, but there's something else we need to do with it. The other thing was, so Bert and I went to the county commissioners meeting to apply for the municipal grants, which is meant to be sort of a cooperative grant that the county gives out to fund small projects. And I think that's supposed to be in the spirit of cooperation between the county and the municipalities and the towns. I was a little bit disheartened by some of the response from the new commissioners about art, and I guess our application has been put on hold because they want to make assurances that the art that we put up is family friendly, or the art that we approve. And I just want to reiterate something that I said at the meeting, which was that the art that we choose for the public art is not any one person on this board or any one person in the community. It's done by a steadfast group of people who are passionate about bringing art to Sylva and people who are passionate about supporting local art. So I'm not sure if I want to motion that we remove that grant, or I just wanted to get a sense of what you guys think about. It seems like that they would want to say and have a say in what we present. And to me, that's a little bit intrusive into this board's workings. So I was going to motion that we withdraw our application, but I'd like to hear from you guys what you think about. There was 2 parts to that application. One was that we would fund some, pretty cheap grants. These are not grants that are going to make anybody rich making their art, but they're grants that will support artists, that will give them a venue, if you will, to present their art and possibly get their name out, certainly get a photograph for their portfolio and their CV moving forward as artists. So that was what my intention was for that grant. The other part of the grant was to fund some little brochures for the kiosk where tourists could come, take one of these brochures and sort of walk around and get a sense of where everything is in town, where the 16 pieces that we have to date are located. So I, for one, don't want to be censored into what this town presents. So I just want to get maybe a little bit of feedback from you guys what you think about that.
So So procedure question here, is this the appropriate time in the agenda to have a discussion that with a potential for a motion, or should that be added as an agenda item?
I think it should be added as an agenda item to discuss.
Okay, and it's not too late to make a motion to amend our agenda. Okay, so you want to make a motion to the agenda instead, just for discussion item.
Sure, I'd like to do that.
Okay, we'll consider that the motion to add under new business item 7 for discussion of the municipal grant for artwork downtown. Any more discussion on that motion? All those in favor of amending the agenda?
Aye.
We don't need another motion to approve the amended agenda. That's good. Okay. Is that it, your report or anything
Yes,
else?
that's all I have.
Sam?
I have nothing to report today.
Okay, concludes the commissioners' reports. We'll move to managers' report.
Everyone. So just a few things with Allen Street. CDC is finalizing their contract with Worcester, the drought contract. We should have that in the next few days. Duke Energy completed their relocation and we're waiting on Frontier. They've ordered cable to replace their lines. North Carolina DEQ has received our permit applications. They asked for more information, so that's being provided. And Kessel's inclinometer readings from the boring show that the slide is still moving slowly. So it's small movements, but still significant, showing that it needs to be fixed. The depot bathroom, I sent you all some more detailed renderings from our architect, Odell Thompson. We're in the phase of the project where the engineers are ready to discuss fixtures, design, and building materials. After that, we'll contact the railroad again about the long-term lease. Town offices are closed on Monday in observation of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Please plan on being here a long time, January 26th, for our regular meeting followed by the budget work session. We will have, that's where we'll do our main budget planning, or the kickoff to our main budget planning, and lunch will be provided. I sent you all late this afternoon, and I apologize, the legislative goals. If you all have time and can pick 10 of the 16 that I sent you, I also put some at your desk. I need to send those in tomorrow by the end of the day. If you could get them to me by noon, that would be great.
Those need to be ranked or just checked.
If you can just check 10 of them, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And then I also attached in that email a description of them. I've got a printed copy if anybody needs that too. We've started the Greening Up the Mountains planning process. Mark and Tammy Haskett are our festival coordinators this year, so we're really excited to have them. And they're working with Lynn and Amanda and Bernadette on an online payment system for vendors for the first time, so that'll be a great convenience. Sylva was voted as a location for a Tesla supercharger. I don't have any details on that, but I'll let you know once I receive them. And as for an employment update, Ty Fox resigned to accept a position at the Sheriff's Department, and Alvin Gashi, who's been working reserves for us for the past few months, is going to fill the vacant position and started full-time this week. Any questions? Yes.
So pretty exciting about the Tesla supercharger, and we talked a little bit about locations, and I was just one more thought. I am guessing since they put these things all over the place, the Tesla people also have an idea where they want to put it. So just wanted to add on, hopefully it will be somewhere downtown. I mean, they take up a lot of space, and also Tesla's going to open it up to everybody pretty soon. That's in their plans. And so if you don't know the Tesla, you can still use their charger. So those are the high-speed chargers. Those are the ones that will really put Sylva on the map. It's like basically like a gas station. It's not just one of these charge and basically trickle charge your car. It's the type of thing that will charge the cars up in 15, 20 minutes kind of thing. So it will definitely it'll bring folks to Sylva. So I'm excited about that.
Ben, what is the footprint like compared to what we currently have at Bridge Park? Is it the same type thing?
No, it's a lot bigger depending on how many they put in. And The ones I've seen around, trying to think where. It's really Asheville is where I've seen them, but they take up a lot of space. I would not put them in Bridge Park. It's just, it would take up too much good.
Like the size of a parking spot or larger?
It's several parking spots, so it's usually like 4 or 5. Like I would think we're talking about it, maybe over like at Poteet might be not a bad spot, like the back part of the Poteet parking lot. There or something along those lines, but they take a pretty good size. Yeah, just Google some, supercharger sites and you'll see how much, but they're usually like 4 or 5 cars and it's a lot more.
Are they the kind of pump where you pay the pump?
Yeah, exactly. These are you gotta pay for these and it's whatever it is, a kilowatt hour. So,
The grants from Tesla.
it's not, it's Tesla we're just providing the space. Most likely, saying here's the spot, but they're gonna come in and they put it in and you pay Tesla. It doesn't cost the town money. I don't know how the agreements work out, but it's one of these things where Tesla charges money. I don't know if the town gets a cut or something like that.
Do they coordinate with Duke?
Oh, yeah, I would think they would. I would guess. I mean, I don't know, but I would guess. It's like the Electrify America kind of things where I don't know if you've seen those in the parking lot somewhere. At Sam's Clubs, they seem to put those in and they take up a ton of space. But it's like the company comes in and does all the stuff.
So that needs to be on town property, or is that something that they would invest in the property here?
It's weird. It sounds like a business operation that gets to use town property for it.
I don't know if I have no idea how all I'm saying is just from a standpoint of bringing people to town, it will be a good thing. I have no idea how these agreements work, but it takes a fair amount of space. And it's pretty exciting that we got picked because I don't know, I saw it on Facebook with me and there were like 8 spots that got picked and they're like all over the country. It was like all these other spots and then here, Sylva. So it'll be great. It'll bring people to town.
Okay, any other questions? Page? Yep. All right. Moving on to new business, the first item, funding for Bridge Park Stormwater Project.
So unfortunately, we did not receive the rural transformation grant from the state. So right now we have, so the cost of the Bridge Park project is $758,357. And in November, we committed, let's see. $436,297 roughly. So our shortfall is $340,357. So we wanted to get direction on how to move this project forward. Do you want to use the remaining ARC funds? And there we're looking at basically 436,000 left. Or do we want to go after additional grant opportunities?
We already committed $436,000 out of our ARPA funds.
Yes.
So here's what I would suggest is the TDA has their grant cycle and they have $750,000 in grant money to give out. And it sounds like that, verbally they think that this is a really good candidate for that. The thing that concerns me is that we have, I don't know if we voted or just verbally agreed to already apply for a TDA grant for the bathroom remodel at Sylva at Poteet Park. And since, I talked with Dogwood Health Trust, they didn't think that the Bridge Park project was a good fit for any of their grant opportunities. So it looks like the TDA grant is our best option. And in order to sort of maximize our potential for getting that grant, I think we should change, since we haven't applied for the bathroom yet, that we should just apply for money for the Bridge Park project And if it gets awarded, that frees up ARPA funds that we could then use for the bathroom remodel. The other option is that we apply for both, you know, X amount for the Bridge Park, Y for Hoti, but, you know, 2 applications seems greedy and you're less likely to get them both. And it doesn't really matter which, you know, if we apply for 2 versus 1, the remainder for the other project will most likely come out of ARPA funds. So I would like to see us apply for about the amount that we've already committed to the project from the TDA, and we fund the bathroom remodels out of remaining ARPA funds once we know what that amount is.
Very good idea. I'm committed to that project.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess it's just a matter of like how to, what's the best way to approach this? So did you talk to TDA that would that hurt us if we applied for 2 or?
I called Nick this afternoon. He felt like the Bridge Park was a really good fit for it because it tied in a lot of elements like fishing and tourism, that's where we have our outdoor events, and long-term, it cleans up the creek.
Yeah.
The only thing is their grant cycle now ends in June. So this would be the county commissioners. It would go before the TDA board, probably June, and then before the county commissioners in July or August, which is a delay from when we talked about starting this, but we've also got Bringing Up the Mountains and then concerts going on also. And other projects.
Or if the grant be, if we wanted to maintain our timeline, I mean, if we didn't get any grants, you know, we have enough ARPA funds to fund it, but it would pretty much, it would be the, you know, the total of our ARPA funds after all was said and done.
No, it leaves it at 100,000.
Around 100.
You're right, maybe.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, could we proceed, keep our timeline and approach this grant as reimbursement, or should we wait and delay the start of it to hear back from the grant program? Like, would it hurt our chances if we?
I could ask that.
I kind of feel like with what Jake has going on with Allen Street, that we probably wouldn't get started that soon anyway.
That's a good point. I mean, it might be better to stagger them.
Jake, you wanna weigh in?
If we could stagger them, that would be preferable. I'm also passionate about that project as well. And since it is the only project that is truly shovel ready, if the reimbursement's on the table, I think that would be a great way to proceed, but I would hate to, I mean, that's taking a gamble also with our ARPA funds.
Can we backfill, like, can we start, just want to confirm this, we can use ARPA funds to start it, and if we get the grants, we can pay ourselves back.
We'd have to have all the money available up front to sign a contract on that project.
Right.
I don't know the answer to what you're asking.
We just wouldn't commit the ARPA funds to anything else. We just say.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
there.
right, but I mean, if we got, what I'm saying is, yeah, the grant, you don't know that, you don't understand what I'm saying, or you?
No, I don't know the answer. I understand what you're saying.
That's it.
Yeah, the looming question is, would you be willing to cash out the ARPA appropriation on the one project?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
On that project, yes, yeah, well, for me, yeah.
that would be a big discussion, and yeah, does it hurt our chances of getting grants if we do that?
I will say, after talking to Russ and Becca with the Southwestern Commission, they believed that the reason that we weren't awarded was because that project had been funded previously through ARPA. Now, the point that I made to that was that it was funded at $438,000. It certainly was not funded at $758. That's quite a difference. But I do think that's what hurt us with the rural transformation grant.
Yeah, and I'm not not 100% sure that, yeah, we would expend, like, if we didn't get the grant, would we throw all that money at it, or would we wait and try again for another grant, right? I mean, are things gonna get more expensive?
Yes.
Between now and
Yeah.
then also, but I think, certainly I would say, let's go ahead and shift our application to TDA for this project. And then we can make the decision on whether we wait to hear back from that grant, which I kind of lean towards, or proceed.
Is TDA willing to take the whole shortfall? Was there a cap on the TDA grant?
No, and I told Nick how short we were, he felt like that was a project that they would consider at that threshold.
Cool. So if we say there's a consensus then to apply for the grant in the amount of 400,000, does that sound right? Or 400,000? Is that enough direction at this point? Or should we have a discussion on to proceed?
What is it looking like with Allen Street? In terms of starting? I know we got the land now.
It's feasible to do the very first phase, which is the geotextile stabilization directly above Bryson Park. There's less heavy excavation involved with that. And it's kind of the natural progression of where they'll start moving back towards this direction to finish. And it would give them a good starting point before weather deteriorates in February and early March, where they can't do a lot of the work. It wouldn't be unrealistic to think the whole project could get pushed back to spring at this point, just because of permit snafus. We're still waiting on Frontier. They seem to really be trying to put a rush on their utility relocations for us, but they have to have the material, and it's been ordered for in excess of a month now, and they still haven't gotten it. So Duke jumped all over it. I mean, Duke was done in a week. So it isn't impossible to be started before spring. I'm hopeful that we'll be started before spring, but it's a coin flip, Greg, to be honest with you.
So if we, so you said if we apply for this grant, it would go before the commissioners, the county commissioners in July, so you said?
July or August.
July or August, so that puts the start date, we're getting into fall. Can they do this project in fall, or is this another project that would start in spring? Ridge Park remodel.
Taking out the scheduling conflicts with greening up and concerts on the creek and stuff like that, I think this is a weather dependent 6 to 8 week project, 10 at the outside at a maximum. If you look at it through the lens of what we're looking at Allen Street, it's really not that big of a deal.
You think it's feasible to start it after the Pottery Festival and finish it before bringing up the mountains?
Yes, absolutely.
To be able to do the paving even.
Should be.
The Pottery Festival.
First week of November.
So, I mean, if we could wait and hear back on that grant, because I'm not entirely convinced we want to spend all of our ARPA funds on something. I think that doing a grant, half ARPA funds would be much better if that only costs us, having it completed by next spring. Like, I'm okay with paving.
How soon do the ARPA funds have to be spent?
So we've technically spent ours because we supplanted. Yeah, so now we don't have a deadline with when we spend what's been freed up in the general fund money.
And it's just sitting in an account, earning interest. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, if we wanted to proceed with ARPA funds and start the project, when would it reasonably start?
In the spring, probably. We'd have to navigate around greening up the mountains for sure. I'd have to have a pretty in-depth discussion with Equinox and the contractor, the bid winner, about what their time frame would look like. I just hate to speak in definitives on that kind of thing because it's so up in the air.
Yeah, we hate to kind of mess up one of the festivals, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
which means if we commit our funds, lessen our chances of getting a grant, and then the project ends up getting delayed to about the same time frame anyway. Doesn't seem, it seems like a wiser use of our ARPA funds to use them to leverage additional grants. So, I mean, my advice, and, entertaining other opinions too here, but, would be to apply for the 400,000 from TDA and we wait. See if we get it.
David, I will say too that an August approval date, we get the money then, and then we go through the bid process. So we would be looking at it might time out pretty well to start at the end of, right after the Pottery Festival, by the time we've done all that. And so by August through the first week of November, when the Pottery Festival is, we should have lots of breathing room on Allen Street by then. So that could work pretty well.
I mean, I'm eager to get that project started too, because it started 8 years ago when I first got on the board, when we did the watershed action plan, but I think it'd be wise to wait just a little bit longer. I don't know, what does everyone else think? Do y'all want to proceed?
I just want to see this get done. I don't know, I mean, and if there was, because, and the fact that it was a $400,000 project and now it's a $750,000 project. Things are not going to get cheaper. The longer we wait, the more expensive it's going to be. I just want to make sure that, sure, if it's going to hurt us, if it's going to matter if we wait or not for the grants, whether it's going to hurt our possibilities of getting grants, if it hurts us clearly, we should wait. But if it doesn't make a difference, we could still start to move forward or partially. So I don't know, that's where I am. And I have a question. So the TDA, so who is it, the county commissioners themselves that decide this, or is there's the tourist?
TDA board makes a recommendation to the county commissioners for approval.
Right, okay. So they have the final word. The board makes the recommendation. The board is making the TDA board is making a decision on who gets the grants, but basically that the county commissioners have to sign off. That's the process.
Yes. Okay. As I understand it.
Yeah, okay.
And were we thinking that our leftover ARPA money would be used for a down payment on the bathrooms, or what were we thinking?
Well, you could use it for whatever the board decided. I mean, it could be the petite part bathrooms, it could be what's over the shortfall on the public restrooms. If that's up to you all.
Housing. That's how we should try to free up a lot of our ARPA funds. We got that grant.
Yeah. Or can we reapply for the one we got turned down from what was the one you got, the grant we applied for? Yeah, that's it.
There won't be another cycle until next year, correct, Paige? Yeah,
Okay.
because they had 2 cycles in 22. So I don't think, I can double check. I'm not sure when the next cycle is coming up on that one.
Okay.
And our reason for being declined was,
We haven't been given an actual reason. The best guess that the Southwestern Commission could give us is that they thought that because we had funded the project with ARPA at the 430 figure, the selection committee said, well, they already had this project funded, so we're gonna spread this money differently throughout the region. Or paraphrasing, but yeah. they did the
I
same
also
thing.
think we've gotten a lot of grant funding with Allen Street and Bryson Park, and that probably played a big part in it also.
Okay, so do you just need consensus to withdraw? Well, I keep saying withdraw our application for the TDA for the bathroom line. We haven't actually sent it in, but to change our application to request money for Bridge Park instead, you need a vote or anything?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Then entertain a motion that we direct staff to apply for a $400,000 grant from TDA to be used for the Bridge Park stormwater project. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Anything else we need to discuss on that? Okay,
I don't think so. I think that closes that.
sounds like the consensus was to apply and wait. All right, next item on the agenda, the amended fiscal year 23-24 budget calendar.
So I added what we discussed at the last meeting when this was adopted about the discussion of non-budget priorities, March the 23rd. And then the balanced draft budget, the last version was April the 18th. If we push that to the 19th, Bernadette's asked me to attend the Main Street retreat, their planning retreat. So that would allow me to do that. And then I had the time listed incorrectly on the April 27th meeting. That needs to be 10 a.m. after our regular board meeting.
Okay, we have those changes here. And just need a motion to adopt those. If everyone is okay with them.
I'll motion.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, we have another new business item that we added, the discussion on the municipal grant application. That I'd like to withdraw. For discussions.
Okay, I'll start. So yeah, I watched you guys, strong work, you and Bernadette, got up there and, talked about, need for public art and why it's important to fund it, what that means for small towns like ours. I noticed that some of the questions that the commissioners had for you had absolutely nothing to do with public art. They tended to veer off onto Bryson Park and something about the social district. So it became pretty clear to me that the county commissioners really didn't understand what was going on, what was being requested. And then I also watched their discussion afterwards, something about family-friendly arts. I don't know if anybody knows what that means. I mean, you know, when you see it or whatever is saying, but it sounded, again, like you said, like censorship. And I think the last thing you want are, you know, politicians engaging in what is and what is not art. This has been going on for many years. I was really disappointed in the county commissioners for the discussion, which again veered off into the Bryson Park. I was hoping that maybe we could go back and maybe have a little bit more discussion about what is public art, why it's important, and what it is we're actually asking for. And hopefully they can understand that that government can do many things and it has to do many things. They take out parks, they fix roads, they put public art. And you have to wear many hats when you're in these seats and understand kind of the big picture. So my recommendation is, since they said they needed us to come back, or Bernadette, to maintain the requests, go back, and I am willing to go to that meeting. I would hope that all of us would go to that meeting to be there. Whether we just have a discussion or not doesn't matter, but more just to be there. So they understand that we are a board. We're also a municipality, and we ask for things from the county. We have to work with the county. It's a two-way street, and but we make our own ordinances. That I would hope that the county would support what we do. And if they don't, they're welcome to come in front of our boards or email us or contact us. I would hope that we could work together, but I would request that we maintain the request for the funding and go from there.
I think one of the reasons that we sort of put this grant application in was because we as a town can't shoulder another infrastructure project at this point. So we're looking for small opportunities that enhance the quality of life in our small town. So, and that's a proven success story. The municipal grant was how we funded the Sylva postcard mural, which I see people still, after 5 years, every day taking pictures in front of that. And it's not just a painting, it's an educational tool. It tells people Christmas trees are gone here, biking is done, the Cherokee Way. It's about education. It's not about offending people. I have heard people saying, "Oh, I don't like the color. I don't like it's not like the clouds or whatever," you know. That's an opinion, and that's fine. Like, that's fine. Everybody can have their opinion. But to have, like you said, Ben, a group of politicians dictate what can and can't be shown, or what is and isn't offensive, is not the charge that we have given the Public Art Committee, which, like I said before, is a group of people who are steadfastly committed to bringing this kind of thing to Sylva. So I was a little bit sad when I left that meeting. And so in that sadness, I sort of got hot and thought that maybe we would just not do that. But hearing you say you would be behind me, I am more than willing to go to the February 14th meeting when they decide. And as I've been doing for the last 7 years, for Public Art and Sylva.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point of this grant is to foster cooperation between municipal governments and county government. So I think it's a good opportunity to ask for their trust in this, redirect maybe their request to censor public art. I think we can all agree that that's not a good approach to this grant. And there's a number of things I think that we could clear up with them. Maybe Paige, you and Jake can discuss how Bryson Park work has already even begun. I mean, Verizon, there already is work being done up there. Verizon has relocated their infrastructure, which it doesn't sound like they knew about that. So I think there's a lot we can clear up and kind of use this opportunity for this grant to do what it's intended to do, and that is to get us talking to one another and working together. So I would much rather, you go back there, clarify, what we see, our role in this process, their role, and the Public Art Committee, their role, and ask for their trust in the town of Sylva to, respectfully spend their grant dollars, which we very much will.
I just felt a little, I felt a little bit bad about how really, if you want an update for Bryson Park, all you have to do is read this. They have excellent coverage from the minute that slope started sliding. It's been covered in the paper, including 2 weeks ago and including this week. So
It's front pages weekend.
I'm not quite sure,
Yes.
I'm not quite sure. That I should have been admonished for that. Because it's a long process. And I'll chalk this up to the commissioners being new and not quite understanding what their role is yet. But they will soon learn that these things take time. And these things take staff hours. And that was sort of what got to me, was that somehow we're not being good stewards of our town. And that was not the case. So I will go back. We'll see what happens. If that's what everybody thinks we should do, that's fine.
Yeah, cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Consensus. And then, I mean, would you mind or Jake mind just maybe going to a meeting and providing an update on the progress on Bryson Park and where we're at?
We'll certainly offer to do that. And I think as far as the art goes, we could share how the art committee works through Main Street and the design pillar. Also with that's the Sylva mural. I think the board saw the concept, but I don't think this board technically approved the art that's on that mural today. I think you all approved the contract with the artist that had the concept in it. But it is a little bit different than what was initially involved in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that work was done through the art committee.
At that point, it was voted on in committee. I think we saw a couple of examples, but we didn't vote on it.
But I mean, the town and county work together tremendously well. From the staff point, the maintenance point, and then the cost sharing with the Sylva pool, the maintenance on the fountain, and then, I mean, especially the fire department funding. So we are very grateful to them and their assistance with all those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the county, Sylva is the county seat, and this is where people come, and Sylva's really important to the county as well. It's definitely a two-way street. And I just wanted to add, like public art, it instills town pride in a place, and it keeps people here and it makes people want to move here. So it's like, there's a feeling of ownership, with that. That's like, that's our town, the mural that's up, public art is something that, people that live here, and me especially, I feel attached to. Actually, I think I sent it out to you. The league put out the league municipalities has a podcast, and they just came out like a couple days ago with a one on public art. And I think I sent it to everybody. It's really worth a listen just to hear how public art works. Maybe that county commissioners can listen to it as well. We got to send it to them.
Okay, any more to discuss?
Thank y'all for the discussion.
All right, next thing on our agenda is closed session. I'll need a motion, and please read the general
We
statute.
actually don't need that.
Okay, we're scratching that, okay. Scratching the closed session. That brings us to adjournment.
I motion we adjourn.
All those in favor?
Hey.
Aye. Any opposed?